I've been thinking a lot lately about my time playing World of Warcraft and how I really got into that franchise. How, once upon a time, I was just this 18-year-old girl and had just failed my first semester of college and thought, I should do something to cope about this. Let's go ahead and install World of Warcraft. And that obviously was not a good decision because you could probably say that I got addicted to the game. And to the surprise of absolutely nobody, I failed my second semester as well. And college, for a moment, was no longer an option on the books for me. Despite that, my time playing that game really was filled with magic. I started off as an undead warlock because that's just the vibes that I was going for at the time. So obviously I was horde, and yeah, Tirisfal Glades. That was an experience. Just being in that world at that time, around 2008. I jumped in during Wrath of the Lich King, and I remember vividly seeing, here I am, this level 4 warlock, and there was a friendly, we didn't know what friendly meant at the time, a friendly Death Knight, level 80, and all we knew were that Death Knights were quote-unquote the bad guys. So we had no idea what to do. We didn't say hi. We just avoided this person. We're just like, oh, this is a bad person. We don't associate. They're not good. Getting to just learn about Tirisfal Glades and the Scarlet Crusade, moving on from Tirisfal into the Undercity, meeting Sylvanas, meeting Verimathras, not really knowing what their whole spiel was at the time, and then moving on to Silverpine Forest and the absolute creepy and just whimsical is not the right word. There was just a certain energy about Silverpine Forest. Maybe it was the Worgen. We do love some good lichens. We don't even remember at this point. Silverpine Forest led into... It's all drawing a blank. We can't remember the original path that we took. We just know that here we were, this child in terms of gaming, just getting on board with this MMO, and being absolutely lost in the lore of it all. Arathi Highlands, I think, was the next place, and learning about the presence of the old gods, and how quickly we fell in love with old god lore, and how that would progress into other beloved games, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, anything that touched and delved into the cosmic horror, Darkest Dungeon. I remember there was a point where we got requested, they needed 3 people to be in a group so that they could enter, I think it was Blackrock Depths. And the amount of effort that I, this incredibly low level person, was at the time, just trying to help out because, alright, yeah, sure, why not? This is the thing, let's do it. Come to find out that we weren't even the correct level. We were too low level, and we could not enter the instance at all. And so the hours that we spent getting to that point were all for naught. They at least made up for it by giving us some gold. I think we were given 40 gold from that experience, and hey, that was a lot of gold. That was a lot of money. Wrath of the Lich King time, 40 gold, that's like a mount. And yeah, we eventually were high enough level that we could go into Black Rock Mountain, and that was during the era of the time of having to do a pickup group. Oh my god. Yeah, there was no looking for group, there was no dungeon finder, there was just, here's a group, and we're gonna try to do it. We spent 4 or 5 hours in that dungeon. I remember eating Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supreme with my warlock and my blueberry, my void walker named Clathvug. Thinking that, the blueberry will help because he's tanky, not really understanding that he's pulling aggro from the tank. Oops, that's our bad, I guess. Eventually we were high enough level that we could go to the Blasted Lands, and how absolutely terrible that zone was. What do you mean I have to kill 40 boars before I can find a spleen? What do you mean? What do you mean this boar doesn't have a spleen on it? Don't they all have a spleen? The drop rate of quest items was absolutely abysmal. And yeah, we just played through it. Because that's what we were supposed to do, right? Eventually we would make it on to the Outlands, and just being absolutely awestruck the first time we stepped through the dark portal. Questing and just realizing how absolutely gaudy the outfits were at the time. I guess one could say it was outlandish. Something was different about Outland. The magic may not have been as present as it were playing through vanilla. And I guess that's okay. That's to be expected, after all. There's not really much to write home about, other than we loved learning more about the Burning Legion, the lore behind that. You know, even before we began playing World of Warcraft, a very good friend of ours, his name was Matthew, gave us a book. I can't remember what it was. I think it was a Warcraft Chronicle or Chronicle of Warcraft, and it just had all of these stories. I think The Last Guardian was one of them, and we had already gotten a taste of the lore by reading the books before playing the game. And so actually playing the game now, we got to be a part of that world. Got to learn more about Kil'jaeden and Archimonde. Got to learn more about the Horde, the Maghar orcs. And then eventually we made it to Wrath of the Lich King content. Oh my god, Borean Tundra was an absolute slog, and we hated it. Dragonflight was a slog, and we hated it. And then I think we were high enough level that we could go to... what was the troll zone? I can't remember off the top of my head. And then eventually we made it to the Storm Peaks. Storm Peaks, at least, was absolutely stunning and beautiful. And then onward to Icecrown Citadel. I think by the time we had finally reached level 80, by the time we were actually able to participate in the endgame content, Secrets of Uldor had dropped. So we didn't actually even enter Naxxramas. The instance that was brought from vanilla to Wrath of the Lich King because no one could play at that level at that time. It got ported to Wrath of the Lich King, and by the time we were leveled up and ready to experience it, nobody was playing it, and so everybody was focusing on Uldor. Everybody was focusing on... No, it wasn't even Uldor that came out at the time, it was TOC. Yeah, people were just farming Uldor at that point to get ready for TOC. And then, yeah, we beat the Lich King. No. Did we? Did we beat the Lich King? I don't think we did. I don't think we did until Cataclysm came out. And we had no problem with Cataclysm. It was a story. It was fun. We discovered a gold farming tactic. We knew that the bots were farming the ore at the time, and you could prospect the ore and get either vendor trash, which were just the green gems, or some really high value blue gems. But there was actually value in just prospecting. As long as you could buy a stack of 20 ore for less than 36 gold, you were guaranteed, 36 gold or less, because if you prospected 4 times and got 4 uncommons, they would sell vendor for 9 gold each. So as long as you bought the ore for less than 36 gold, you were guaranteed to make a profit. And we made so much money that we were able to buy all of the bind on equip pickups from the Shadowmourne? Yeah, the Shadowmourne questline. We didn't actually do it ourselves, but we did buy all of those items. The necklace, the locket. Yeah, it was certainly an era. And then I think, no, we kept playing through it. And then we eventually made it to Mists of Pandaria. And just, well, stories of Mists of Pandaria will stay with us for a very long time, and was almost the reason we came back to Classic, was to play that experience again. But we're old enough to realize that you can't really recapture an experience. It was a snapshot of a moment in time. We will talk about it eventually, as well as the absolute insane gold farming strategy we had developed for ourselves. And yeah. So, even though the game is nothing like it was back in 2004, 2008 when we came on board, it was still magic. It still had stories to be told, stories to sit with, and fond memories to think about. And just living in that, not wanting to return to the nostalgia, because that moment in time has passed, and there's nothing that we can do about that. We can just sit with those memories and think about how good of a time we did have when we were playing World of Warcraft. So, as before, we appreciate you all for sitting with us. We'd love to hear any stories that any of you may have regarding your early experiences playing WoW. Tell us about the magic that you encountered, and are you still playing today? And if so, why? Anyway, take care everybody, and until next time.